Welcome to Conspiracy. I'm Taylor,
And I'm Sammy.
and we're here to unpack and analyze the world's best conspiracy theories. So buckle up and let's jump in. So for those of you that can't see, I had to re-record that. We're re-recording a lot tonight. Because as I was saying, buckle up and let's jump in, Sammy proceeded to act it all out and throw me off and make me laugh.
What can I say? I'm an actress.
I will also say that, we're only re-recording this again because my computer was acting dumb and
Didn't record it at all.
so we get to redo the first 10 minutes of this whole podcast.
Heck yeah, take two, baby.
And I only grew so frustrated that I'm crying. So we're here again to re-record and talk about everything that we just spent 10, 15 minutes talking about.
That's all right.
So we are back.
Practice makes perfect.
We're back. We're sadly closing out summer.
I'm not going to talk about that.
I don't.
What I am going to talk about is this weekend.
Ooh, smooth intro in.
Thank you.
Okay.
We went camping here in Wisconsin, which is shocking because, we've never actually, I was 4 the last time
You
we
were
camped
young.
in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And it's been a hot second. I don't remember any of that camping trip. But this last weekend, we went camping with our Aunt Nancy. Shout her out. She hooked us up, and we went to Willow River State Campground here in Wisconsin, kind of right over on the border of Minnesota. And
Yep.
we camped there for 3 days, 2 nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be 4, but the weather that rolled in.
Kind of took a turn, and we were
Yeah.
like, all right, I think we're going to dip just that
Yeah.
last day.
And I'm more of a drive through the night. It's more relaxing, more serene, and you just pass out. So it's really quiet.
What you saying? You saying I talk too much?
No, you don't talk enough because half the time I'm talking and I'm like, Sammy, are you there? But I listened.
I'm listening.
I listened to my Pirates of the Caribbean as I drove home, the movie that you chose to watch and you passed out.
I made it almost through the whole first
And
one.
mind you, I was like, Sammy, go to bed. It's fine. But
I wanted to be a strong person for you and
Oh,
stay up, but
was
my
a f-
eyes just couldn't take it any longer, and I had to fall asleep.
It was a 4-hour drive. It's a long drive, but I would say I loved the weekend.
It was a good camp trip.
And
Nancy hooked us up
Yeah.
with awesome tasting meals. I perfected the pudgy pie. I mean, the last time I remember making them, they were basically just like doughy.
balls.
They weren't good.
No.
But this time around, I don't know if we made them with like dough the first
You
time.
might have made them with crescent roll dough.
I think we did.
You
and
might have.
You'd have to like cook it forever with that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's not going to cook. But this time we made them with like white bread and then pie filling.
Aunt Nancy has it perfected.
Absolutely chef's kiss. Delicious. It is just a pocket full of goodness, and I am obsessed. I will eat those breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh my God.
I will be morbidly obese, but I will be happy.
No, she definitely, first off, in the last few years, me and you have kind of become obsessed with being outdoors. And we camp more outside of Wisconsin than we do in Wisconsin.
Yeah, we definitely do.
We hit national parks and that is amazing, but we're slowly trying to expand and, camp in the state we live in so we can explore this state more. But Nancy had the best setup where you could just pound that little grill into their fire pit.
Oh, I know.
That is nifty.
Because the fire pits at campgrounds just
suck.
Well, looking at the one we were at, it was like a teeny tiny little sliver way
Yeah.
off to the side.
And
You'd have to
dirty as hell.
build the fire way off to the side. It wouldn't work.
No.
No,
but
their little
that's-
setup, it was like swing it over, cook the food,
Ugh.
swing it back, take it off.
It was amazing.
I know.
If we ever are solo campers and we're way diligent, that is something I'd invest in. Anyone that camps should invest in that product.
It's Mountain Man.
And is it Mountain Man?
That's what I thought they had said.
Maybe. I just remember Uncle Brian got it for his birthday, and I'm like, dude, this is the best gift
Uncle
you can give
Brian,
a camper.
getting a shout out.
First time. Hopefully he's listening.
Get it, boy?
Aunt Nancy is always in the car making him listen, so maybe he's hearing this. But no, if you're a camper, and I would say you have to camp more than once a summer.
Yeah, to warrant it.
Otherwise,
Otherwise,
the
just stick
purchase.
with a little tripod. It'll swing, but it'll be fine.
It was amazing. And she made the most amazing food.
I mean, otherwise, the campsite, I loved the campsite, but
Yeah.
the lake there, ooh.
There were sea scorpions.
They were
trying to kill me.
teeny tiny little microinvertebrates. They're small.
Of course.
Microinvertebrates.
Science lesson.
Biology teacher. There were little tiny microinvertebrates that were swimming towards me. I almost crapped myself. I grabbed my tubie and sprinted out of that lake. I was
Yeah.
not about to go back in there, but
The
the falls were absolutely superb.
They were
I sat in the
beautiful.
falls. It was freezing freaking cold.
Yeah.
Got to walk behind a waterfall.
That was epic.
It was just good.
The falls
It
were
wasn't
beautiful.
just good. It was great.
And I think
It was wonderful.
okay. If it
Are you
wouldn't,
sick of me interrupting you yet?
you're good. I'm not gonna yell at you. I'm trying to be better.
Oh, I was trying to go for a
I
yell.
know. I'm trying to be more positive with you, but I know that you'll make me yell at some point this episode when you interrupt me. It's okay. It's okay. I'm staying calm, but I'm trying to find my zen with you, and I'm doing good this episode.
Good job.
Half the times I'm like, shut the fuck up and let me talk. But anyways, and it like if it wouldn't have been 90 degrees, I feel like the hiking there would have been great, but it was so hot. So like sitting in the falls was perfect. Probably wouldn't go back to Willow River because of the
Yeah,
lake,
it's kind of a one and done.
but definitely if you live in Wisconsin, I would recommend.
To check it out.
You should see it. And the one disappointing part, and we didn't think about it until literally the last day, is like we should have hit other state parks while we're over there.
I know.
Because it's a 4-hour drive.
But
it's
at
a long
that
drive.
point, it's kind of like, okay,
Yeah,
it was too late.
it was. But we have next summer because sadly we won't make it back there this summer.
So Willow River is conspiracy approved.
Okay.
For those of you not seeing it, I did a stamp of approval.
But yeah. So and the other thing I think we had mentioned before with all the shout out Aunt Nancy gets. Eventually, when we make our merch line,
That's right.
she's gonna have to have her own merch line within the merch
It'll
line.
just be a shirt with a little picture of her, and it'll say "Shout out Aunt Nancy."
Because we shout her out in every episode. Is it even an official episode if we don't shout out Aunt Nancy?
No, it's not.
It really isn't. So, eventually, when my mental state calms down and I can handle everything that's being thrown at me with conspiracy theory,
We'll get you some merch.
we'll get merch out there. Because surprisingly, we've had numerous
Multiple
people ask,
multiple
which
people ask about it.
shocks me because I'm like, oh my god, are we like
Thank
popular?
you.
It's going to my head, you guys, but it's very exciting.
Guys, we have another exciting thing to announce. We will officially, not for a while, probably like January, but we have confirmed that we are going to have a guest on the podcast. And yes, it might be a family member, but I am still considering that a pretty high honor because we are now guest level.
Our cousin Katie, we have
Represent.
peer pressured her into coming on. But then again, Aunt Nancy, which is our cousin Katie's mom, has made her like listen to episodes because Katie is also a teacher like me and Sammy. And as she's been home for the summer from teaching, her
Yep.
mom has made her listen. And Katie's like, well, I think I'm just going to start listening on my own. And I'm like, you need to be a guest. And she goes, I think I could do that at least once. And I'm like, shut up, really?
We won't spill the tea on what she's going to do,
'Cause
but
we know.
it's a good one.
And it's one that I myself don't feel I could do. So it was kind of nice that she was willing to jump in and do it.
Although she started like sharing some of her like things she just knows about
Yes.
the topic, and I was like, I could totally see that.
And I think it's one that listeners are going to enjoy.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, it's a while down the road. We still have to get a setup for a guest. And we, with all three of us being teachers, have to get back into the groove of teaching. But later this fall into the winter, we're going to have her on as a guest. And I'm so freaking pumped.
So you'll get to hear another voice besides just Taylor and myself.
Yeah. And hopefully after her, the guests just keep rolling in.
Heck yeah.
I'm still working on, and he's going to get another shout out, but Jim, I'm working on Jim being a guest.
Jimmy boy.
We've shouted him out before, but he was on our REI trip. And Jim, we're eventually going to get you on here. We just got to line up a time that he's in Wisconsin.
I know.
But yes, I have other shout outs that I want to give here because we're cool enough that we can give shout outs now. I want to
You
shout.
kidding? We've always been cool enough.
I want to shout out first. I want to correct a shout out that I gave, I think, in last week's episode.
It was last week or the week before. I can't remember.
It was the Jack Ripper episode, so it was probably the week prior.
Yep.
I want to shout out a podcast that has been following us on Instagram and listening to our podcast and interacting with our Instagram page. I believe I had called them Studio 70, but it's actually Studio 70, and I want to make sure that I just correct that. Jump
so
on
if you're
over.
a listener from them, thanks for coming to us.
Yeah. And if you're listening to us, jump on over and check them out. They have a pretty big following. They're a true crime podcast.
Heck yeah.
So if you like conspiracy, normally you tend to jump into true crime and enjoy that.
it's
So
kind of all one category.
make sure you check them out. And I'm glad that I was able to hopefully correct myself because I think I might have said it wrong on the last podcast. So the other person I want to shout out is Joel Rodriguez Jr.
Joel Rodriguez Jr.
Oh, there's an accent for you. He's been interacting a lot with the page, commenting. He's a new follower, and he sounds like he's loving it, which I love to hear. Someone else I want to shout out is, and she doesn't have a name on her profile, but her username, I believe, is Lipsy11. It's LISSYP11.
Lipsy 11.
Sammy, you're creepy. But she's been interacting and commenting and liking and...
Gracias, Lipsy.
Okay, some Spanish. All right. Spanish and an accent.
Yo soy muy importante.
If you're Spanish, feel free to comment below what Sammy just said. And then I also want to just give a couple shout outs to people that are new followers, which would be April Sanders.
April Sanders.
I'm sorry if Sammy is creeping you guys
This
out.
is how I welcome our new followers.
And I also want to shout out Caitlin Winters.
Caitlin Winters.
There's one.
Thank you.
Oh my God, you are creepy. There's one other shout out I want to give, and that is to, and I'm so sorry if I say this wrong, Nadej.
Nadej.
I think is the username. I hope I'm saying that right. That is from Apple. She left us a review, and I'm not going to go and read it all, but it was a really nice review. And the one part I loved about the review is how she went in there and she goes, for anyone that tells you that going off on tangents is a bad thing, don't listen to them. Because she's like, it reminds me of myself. And I loved it. She was just super positive and happy, and it was totally amazing. So thank you for leaving us such a kind review. Know that, like, you guys, we look at all of those and take them all to heart. Like, the positive notes just really feel. Sammy is sitting here, like,
pumping my chest.
fist to chest, having a heartfelt moment. But we read all those positive things, and we love to hear
negative things.
the negative ones. You just sit there and I'm like, if you have nothing kind to say nothing at all. My favorite is
it does sometimes hurt what you're saying
and mind
for
you,
about 2 minutes, and then I get over it. But
yeah,
it does hurt for a second. Okay,
and mind you, the positive outweighs the negative. But my favorite is, like, I want to say there was one on Apple that I had read like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So this guy or girl was like, they are not qualified to discuss conspiracies, and I'm like, when did
is anybody qualified?
When
and
did
did
I
I
ever?
state I am a conspiracy expert?
Yeah, never said I was qualified. All right, so after the very long-winded intro here, we're finally going to get into this week's topic.
Which you seem very excited about.
I've had this topic, like, I started researching it, God, months ago, and, like, I kind of abandoned it because I found other topics that I'm like, ooh, I should do this one before I forget to do it. And this one is one that I've had on my list for a while. It's been long awaited, and it's one that I don't know if you're going to love, and I'm going to get shit from you. I'm probably going to get shit from Jim, too, because Jim's he's going to be like, Taylor, really? But anyways, I tried to think of some hints to, like, kind of clue you into what it is for you to guess.
Okay.
It was hard
I'm ready
to make up hints for this one. The first hint I'm going to give you is that there have been movies made about this subject.
Okay.
The second hint I'm going to give you is that it is about, and this is going to give it away, I think, it's about an animal.
It didn't give it away.
Good. I'm glad. Hint number 3, it's an aquatic animal.
An orca whale?
No.
Is it big? The Meg?
This week, we are going to discover the very real possibility if the Meg is still alive.
It's not.
The Megalodon shark.
Definitely not.
I'm convinced both ways. Like, I could see it's extinct,
It's not alive.
but I could see
That's my stance. It's not alive.
Okay. This topic has enticed me for a long time. Granted, I'm absolutely terrified of sharks. Horrifically terrified of sharks.
Especially a skyscraper sized shark.
But I have been so intrigued and ready to do this topic, so I'm very excited. This topic, though, I will let you know, it relies heavily on the theory. And there's going to be some background, and the background's more like explaining about the shark and what it looks like, but we rely heavily on theory in this episode. For the background information this week, I'm simply just going to kind of give like a short little lesson, well, short-ish lesson on the Meg. So for those of you that may not know, MEG is short for Megalodon shark. The Megalodon is a shark that ruled the seas approximately 3.6 million years ago, is what scientists are saying. Know that this information, though, is not lost on me. I realize that's so long ago, and chances are like 0.00001% that this is alive. But
yeah, but you also look at like a bird. A bird existed 3.5 million
exactly,
years ago.
you are selling it, Sammy. You believe.
Like
but
there are things that lived back then that
So,
still live today.
just
So
know-
there is a possibility.
Sammy has said it. She believes the Meg is alive and swimming
I
in the
did
ocean.
not say that. I
She
just
sold
said
it. I heard it here, folks. I heard it.
things that lived back then could still be living now.
Sammy is adding to this, you guys. I'm glad that we got her on board. I've convinced her. Should I just stop here?
Sure. And that's a wrap.
If you've never seen the movies, because, I mean, you have like Jaws, but then there's the movies, The Meg. If you've never seen the movies or pictures of what the Meg essentially would have looked like, because
Big ass shark.
it's a really big shark, but I would say it's, and mind you, I talk about it later in my research of what scientists closely relate it
In
to.
my research.
I love research. As I'm typing it, I was typing up this today, and I'm like, I say research a fuck ton.
In my research.
You guys, someone keep a tally of how many times I say research. Don't tell me the number because it'll just upset me.
Drinking game.
But as I was going through and studying this topic,
Researching.
I personally thought that the Meg is very closely compared to the great white. I think it
Yeah,
looks.
yeah. It looks very comparable.
When I later on
Just supersized.
down below, it's compared to a different shark more closely, but appearance-wise, I personally thought it looked like a great white shark.
We're not marine biologists.
Yeah, you guys, again, I'm not an expert. It's just a conspiracy theory. Oh, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about half the time. So, here is where
That's why we research.
exactly.
Drink number 2.
Research. That is hard to say 3 times fast. Say it.
Research.
You did really well.
I know.
Anyways, so here's where I had some fun with the background information. Me, myself, I struggle with perspective of size of things.
Yeah, you do.
You're sick. Like a
4 inches sure is looking like 6 inches.
I'm cutting that out. You're sick.
Come on, that was good dick humor.
Yeah, but the audience doesn't want to listen to good dick humor.
People do too.
Anyways, regardless, that's one of the million.
Y'all need to keep that in.
That's one of the million tangents we go on.
I'm gonna
all the
fight
time.
for that to stay.
Well, lucky for me, I edit the podcast. A great example of this is like when we go to national parks, like you see pictures of these mountains, but then when you get there, you're like, holy crap, these are huge.
Wow.
That's the same when it comes to this shark. Like, you just don't realize how big it is, and pictures don't do it
Well, it's like,
justice.
even like an orca. Like when you see the size of an orca whale,
Yeah.
those babies are huge.
And
You see it like next to a boat, and I'm like, it's bigger than the
know.
boat.
that's the scary part. Oh my God, the people that paddleboard and an orca comes up, I would die.
Absolutely no.
Immediately, I'd just
Absolutely no.
I'd be like, open your mouth, I'm just jumping in.
I mean, orcas are usually they're just inquisitive. They aren't gonna
I know.
voluntarily like go and eat you.
But I'd be terrified.
I'd be crap
Literally,
myself.
the other day, I think it was on Facebook. This girl was out on a paddleboard, 7 of them, Sammy. And mind you, I felt so bad because as she's filming it, she's going, please go away. And she's like almost in tears.
She's probably panicking.
I would panic too. And she was standing on her paddleboard.
I would have sat down immediately.
Because you lose balance so
Yeah.
easily.
Especially if a huge ass animal is gonna swim
Yes.
past you. It's gonna have a wake to it.
And the thing is, like you said, they're inquisitive. They will try to like rock it and like move it. Like, can I move it like a boat?
It's like a toy.
They try to rock it. And I'm like, I'd be shitting my pants.
I'd definitely sit down and crap myself. Thank God I'm in the ocean.
Regardless, back to the whole perspective thing, like the mountains, you don't realize how big they are. Orcas, you don't realize. Same goes for the Megalodon. You don't realize, and you really can't fathom the actual size of these things. So I'm going to do some comparisons that hopefully help make the size of this sound a little bit easier to understand. While I was doing my research,
Rank number 24.
scientists have said that female megalodons tended to be larger than male megalodons. Oh my God.
That's kind of shocking.
Yeah. But
Because usually males are bigger
they're not.
for sexual selection.
Oh, maybe in that. But when you look at all shark species, females tend to be larger, which I
mean,
thought
that's
was
because they
weird.
gotta carry the babies.
Maybe that's what it is. Anyways, females range in length from 44 to 56 feet long.
Feet? That's not that big.
Oh my God, Sammy, it's so fucking big. Males range in 34 to 47 feet long. Dude, the difference between male and female is drastic. But then they also have on record the largest one that they have found are 60 feet long.
Made
So
up.
what's made up? The fact that this
No,
existed?
No. That they found or made up. That seems just a little too large.
Sammy, the blue whale. Do you realize how big a fucking blue whale is?
Oh yeah, that baby.
It's bigger than the megalodon.
It's like football fields long.
It's way bigger than the megalodon. So, but regardless, they're saying that the largest one documented is 60 feet long. I don't know how you
But a
document
whale's
something.
like blubbery.
What does that have to do with
shark,
length?
A shark is very like cartilaginous. I feel like
Cartilaginous. Sammy is giving you a science lesson here.
biology teacher.
But anyways, we're going to get into perspective. So, an average female great white shark is 15 to 16 feet long.
Didn't you say the female was like 30 something? No, megalodon.
Oh,
Now we're
it's
comparing?
44 to 56.
Okay.
We're going to go off the 60-foot biggest one that was documented
course
because
we are.
there were multiple of that size.
Okay.
So it's not like, oh, just one was found.
Okay.
There were numerous. But when comparing the great white female to the megalodon, it's 4 times bigger. 4 times bigger. If you compare
And when I see a great white, I'm like, damn, that's
I know. And they're huge and they're
big.
terrifying.
And then they do a full ass breach out of the water. I'm like, fuck, that's big.
Dude, when we've been in our pool and I'm like, I'm going to breach. I can get like up to hips out. I can never get my whole body out of the water.
And that's jumping off the bottom.
Do you know how fast you have to be swimming up towards the surface to jump out and breach your whole body?
You know.
Really fast. Anyways.
I'm too fat for that.
When you look at the male great white shark, they average 11 to 13 feet. They're 5 times to get to the Megalodon. Biggest great white ever recorded is 20 feet. You would still need 3 of them to reach the size of the Megalodon. And mind you, great whites, the biggest at 20 feet, there have been very, very few at that.
Yeah.
It took a lot to get to that size, and they were very old sharks. An average school bus is 45 feet. This shark exceeds a school bus by 13.7 feet, up to 15 feet.
A little school bus or a big school bus?
A big school bus. A big average size school bus. I'm going to give a couple last comparisons here. An average full size or a full-fledged pickup truck averages 18.4 feet long.
That seems long.
It's not.
How long's your truck?
The bed of my truck, I have a 6.5-foot bed. I want to say mine's 19 and change.
Fuck, that's long.
Yeah, but I have a longer bed.
Guys, I forgot to tell you I bought a new car.
Oh my God. We're in the middle of a podcast.
It's a Honda CRV. I named her Vera. She's maroon and she is absolutely superb. 2018, love her to death. All right, back to the topic.
I'm trying to find my zen with you. I'm in the middle of talking stats of a shark, and Tammy's like, I got a new car. Her name is Vera.
But then we started talking about a vehicle, and that made me think about my new vehicle. And then I thought, oh, the viewers will want to know this. So then I told it, and now we're back to the topic. Go.
Okay, so it would take about 3, maybe a little bit more past that, full-size pickup trucks to meet the size of this shark. And the last one I want to compare to is little ol' me. I'm 5'5".
Okay.
I'm 5'5", and it would take 10 and a half of me to be the size of this shark. That's insanity.
That's a lot of you.
That is a lot of me.
We should lay you down out in the yard outside and just see how many of you that would be.
It would be a little more than 10 and a half. That's insanity to me.
Can you relate it to football fields? That's how my brain thinks.
Oh, fuck. You got to make this hard. Okay, 60 feet. Okay, how many feet?
Because the football field's in yards. There's
I know.
3 feet in a yard.
Stop talking. Do you think I'm dumb?
God, I don't know. There's a
3
lot of people that don't know that.
Okay, so you tell me, Sammy, how many feet are in 10 yards?
30.
Good job. Now, if a Megalodon is 60 feet long, how many 10-yard increments would it be?
20 yards, that's it?
Yeah.
That's not that long.
Sammy, oh my fucking God, that's so long. Do you realize how...
Siri's talking to you.
I literally hate your name. I hate your name. I say Sammy. Siri picks... Siri, I don't need you. Thank you. She's not helpful. Not helpful at all. Anyways, do you realize 2 10-foot increments? A football field is huge. Did you expect it to be 10 football fields long?
I don't know. I thought at least 50-yard line.
Oh my God. If there's a shark of that size...
My idea of size, bigger is better.
Again, perspective of size is really hard. But yeah, the last one I want to do is, little of me. Not very little, but compared to the shark, I am. Taylor Swift reference. Did you not just do a Taylor Swift reference?
What'd I do?
You said little old me because it's a song.
Well, you just said...
Who's afraid of little old me?
You just said little
Who's
old me.
afraid
of little old me? Well, you should be.
Taylor Swift fans for life. Anyways. So... Why are you doing Hunger Games?
All you hear is just me blowing into the mic.
Why? How did Taylor Swift even relate to Hunger Games?
Because Taylor Swift sang the theme song for Hunger Games.
First of all, it wasn't the theme song. It was a song within the movie. But, oh my God, these tangents are just horrible tonight. Just horrible.
And they are all instigated by me.
They are.
Notice that?
You are like off in a different world tonight. So, back on track. It's just crazy to me how massive this animal was. And like to comprehend it in things that I can understand, I'd shit my pants if I ever encountered it. Something I found very interesting while doing all of my research,
drink number 25,
is that unlike a lot of the shark species that we currently have, most of the Meg's body was made up entirely of mostly, because there were some in there, mostly made out of cartilage.
Cartilaginous!
I hate you.
I did say that, didn't I?
You did. And when you said that, I was like, fuck, I'm going to say that later.
My brain is so big!
So, there weren't a lot of bones.
No.
Which I really struggle with.
They've got like a backbone, but otherwise it's all cartilage.
Yeah. And I really struggle with this whole, like, dating it back 3.6 million years, and we'll get into the gray area a little bit later.
Did you not think cartilaginous fish were a thing back then?
No, I knew they were a thing, but they're, like, giving it, like, an exact date, and we'll get into the data of it, and it's just a little odd. to me, and I'll explain it more later. But being made up mostly of cartilage allows for this animal to like bend easier, move a lot quicker because I mean
Flexible.
bones weigh you down and you can't go as fast. Scientists closely relate the Meg to a I think it's mako shark, Mako.
Oh, okay, mako shark, yeah.
And mind you, in my head, I'm like, great white. Looks like a great white. It's a great white. But they relate it more closely to the mako shark instead of the great white shark. Another interesting feature about their body is their teeth. Do you want to give a guess on how big a fucking tooth is?
As big as me. I feel like it's got to be like
Okay, Sammy.
too big. All right, I'll go smaller.
Way too fucking big. Oh my god. For reference, Sammy is 5'4". She thought a tooth was 5 feet 4 inches tall.
I'm sorry.
I normally take the role of the uneducated one in this family, but I think you just won the title. Oh my fucking god. Do you want to give a new educated guess? The height of a tooth? The length? The height? I don't know what you want to call it.
A foot?
The height of me!
A foot?
No, 7 inches. You really just, you took away the big, I was trying to announce that as like, it's ginormous, and you're over here guessing 5 feet 4 inches. A foot. No.
Taylor, I told you, I expect this fish to be like 100 yards long, and it's only 20. I just think
20 yards is so many yards.
I think big, okay?
Oh my god, 60 feet long. It's the size of a football field, and his teeth are 5 foot 4 inches. Potentially taller. I can't. So
as tall as me. Oh my god. Just for reference, Sammy's 5'4".
I can't tonight. This episode is just, we've had to start over. Sammy's just tangenting, and now she thinks a shark tooth's that big. No. So you've taken away the whole steam and thunder of this.
7 inches, that's huge.
Sammy, no, it's not. It clearly is not. Not to you. Huge to you is feet long. So you took away my fire, my wind, but about 7 inches, give or take an inch or two.
That's pretty tall.
Is it now? Is it really? I'm just going to move on. You've taken the wind out of the sails here. Scientists have been researching this animal for years. So they've been diving in deep. They're trying to learn more about it. They have focused heavily on coastal areas where they've been able to find fossilized records of this animal. According to some of these records that they have gathered, MEGs are believed to have lived in coastal regions in the US along both coasts. They've also lived on the west coast of South America. Again, this is where things have washed up on beaches and they've been able to find stuff. The islands down in the Caribbean. Do you say Caribbean or Caribbean?
I say Caribbean.
I say Caribbean too, but
a lot of people say Caribbean.
Yeah, I like it both ways.
It's like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I say Caribbean when it's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, but people say Pirates of the Caribbean.
I'm headed to the Caribbean, I'm headed to the Caribbean, not the Caribbean.
Dude, I think I use it both ways. Pirates of the Caribbean, and then when I say, yeah, I'm going to the Caribbean.
I'm going to the Caribbean. I don't say I'm going to the Caribbean. That sounds weird.
Oh my god. Should it be used both ways? Is it one of those words that you can use it two ways?
Tomato, potato.
It's a tomato. And it's a potato.
It's a potato.
It's not I have never heard someone say, "Can I have a potato, please?" No, oh my god.
Maybe it's a Brooklyn thing.
Oh my god, all our Brooklyn listeners are gonna stop listening.
Give me a tomato.
Oh my god.
Eh?
The
How about a potato?
The accents tonight, I don't know where they're coming from with you. Regardless, they have been found all over Europe, literally. When you looked at the map of the light up zones of where things have been discovered, Europe was just a big bright light.
Scary.
Yeah.
I ain't going to know Europe.
But what you don't think of is when you look at the map, Europe has ocean, they have so many waterways leading into the heart of Europe that it easily could have gotten in there.
A lot of seas over there.
Yeah.
Mediterranean.
See me these accents, I just can't.
Red Sea.
So Europe lit up. And then the southwest part of Australia, islands that are off the coast of Asia. And there were 3, maybe 4 different coastal sites in Africa. Africa was not touched at all. The southern part.
I'm headed to Africa. Actually, I feel like in Wisconsin I'm pretty safe.
You don't feel safe here? Well, we do have the Great Lakes, which that's a conspiracy for a whole nother day.
Shit, bro. Can you imagine if a Meg was in there?
I'm dead.
I'd crap myself.
Okay, when we went camping this last weekend, I was scared of the fucking snapping turtles. You think I can handle the Meg?
I know, going through them seaweeds.
Oh, God. Snapping turtles are cute from a distance, but the thought of them coming up and biting me in the ass in my tube, I was not having
I
it.
don't think they do that though.
I don't care. There was literally where we go paddleboarding all the time. There is a snapping turtle the size of a beach ball.
Yeah, I know, but like I don't think it looks at
Pass.
Taylor's butt cheek and goes,
Anyways, so there have been many places throughout the world that they have been spotted. I would say Europe, number one place they've been spotted.
Numero uno.
And then both North and South America. But Africa and Asia didn't have a lot of sightings or a lot of things wash up and be
Asia
found.
doesn't have a lot of like. I want to say this and sound fucking stupid, but
They have a lot of coastal areas, Sammy. They could definitely have things come up.
but perimeter versus surface area, like
Oh, well,
area,
yeah.
I feel like they got less coastal area based on their surface area that they have.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying, but there's definitely a lot of coast that things could have come up. But no, you're just like, I'm fucking done.
Point made.
Okay.
1 point Sammy, 0 points Taylor.
You didn't even make a valid
That
point.
was a win for me.
It wasn't a win.
All right, back to the topic.
But I will try to get that map. I'm going to pull it off. I have the website still pulled up. So I will get that so I can post it on Instagram. Because it was really interesting to see, like, where these things were found. And, like, you would go and be like, there's just this tiny little spot in Australia where it was found numerous times. But then the rest of Australia was just not touched. It was kind of
Like
weird.
The same day and same people were like, I saw it 4 times.
No.
There's 4 sightings.
Sammy, these are sightings from scientists, like researchers that go to these areas of the world.
Oh, I thought these were like public sightings.
No, this is where fossilized pieces have been found by
Oh,
scientists.
I thought we were like actually saw it.
No!
Oh.
See, oh my
Okay.
god, you think I've been sitting here saying the sightings of the Megalodon? Oh my gosh.
That's what I was thinking.
Where are you?
I'm with you now.
Where's your head?
I'm with you now.
Sammy, I just talked for 10 minutes about this and you're
Yeah, I know,
somewhere
but I
else.
thought like we physically saw it, but now I get that we just saw the bones.
Okay.
'Kay.
So, we're just gonna
They
move.
found the 7-foot tooth. No, 7-inch tooth.
Oh my god, you are still set on this tooth being as big as you. Okay, we're just gonna jump into theories.
If y'all think I'm 7 feet tall, we got a problem.
Screw the rest of this info. There's not
Okay.
a lot about it's just where they were found. But anyways, we're gonna jump into theories.
'Kay.
And like I had said at the beginning, it is black and white. There is a theory 1 and there is a theory 2. We're gonna start with the theory that I don't want to believe. Because I want to believe that it's real. But theory 1 is saying that the Megalodon went extinct 3.6 million years ago. And the thing is, all evidence points to its extinct. I'm not denying that by any means. With all the research and studying of the fossils that have been found and the teeth that have been washed up on shore and they've found at the bottom of the ocean, it heavily points to this theory being correct that the Meg is gone. It is dead. There are no more Megs in the sea. End of discussion.
Sad face.
I know. And
I mean, not really sad face because I don't want to see it, but
I'd like to see it like a spotting of a helicopter flying over and seeing it on
as your
camera.
helicopter crashes into the ocean,
Oh,
then you get
no.
eaten by the Meg. I saw it.
I'm not a scientist. I am a science teacher, but I'm not a scientist, so I'm not like fully like I'm presenting on this with the information that's been presented to me. I truly do not understand, and I want to be very clear about this. I do not understand myself and how like and I'm going to sound stupid when I say this, but like how do you look at a fossilized record? And I know that like when you look at like sediment layers, you can go like, "Oh, is this far back?" But like we don't have bones to look at. They're finding these teeth like in sand that have been washed up on beaches. They're not like going down there and going, "Oh, on the scaly or what is it? The citrations, the
That's not it.
striations. What is it?
Striations?
Striations. They're not going down going like, look at the striations of the rock and like here's where the whole skeleton was found. You can't. Their bodies are made of cartilage and yes, they had a backbone, but like
Cartilage can be fossilized.
they've said on numerous things that I've seen, cartilage is so rare to find in fossilized.
It's very rare, but it can be fossilized.
And we have not found a lot of it. And that's the hard part. And so, like, I have a really hard time that they're sitting here going 3.6 million years ago. And I talk about this even more later on. Like,
It might be like minerals found within the tooth
and
that aren't minerals that
Okay.
are present in today's society.
because I
that are
really
common.
struggle to understand that.
So they
How do
might-
you just date that?
They might see that. They might
Okay.
have physically found. I mean, yes, you're saying they've washed up on land, but I mean, I feel like there's also
I mean,
some-
surprisingly, people like these teeth do wash up every once in a great while. And I'm like, can you imagine walking on a beach and
I'd
just
be
finding
like,
that?
I hit the jackpot! Look at this 5'4" tooth.
Oh my god. But that is something I really struggled to wrap my head around doing this research because like this body and like scientists have stepped out and said this has been a really hard thing to research and to know fully about because most of their body was cartilage and Yes, it can be fossilized and it can be kept, but
It's
it is
rare,
so rare,
especially
and
in the ocean.
they have not found a lot of it because it's likely at deep depths if it is there. And I just want to know, how did we
Plus, if
arise
if the Meg were to die, it would probably bloat and then sink to the bottom of the ocean
and be
and then
eaten?
be eaten.
So like, how do we arrive at 3.6 million years ago? And like I said later, I talk about this. The numbers are all over the place. I think a lot of websites just end up going to 3.6 because so many other websites do. And like research and study, but we'll
Yeah.
talk more in a little bit. Additionally, there have been no confirmed, like 100% confirmed sightings of the Megalodon. We're
Correct.
still on like theory number 1 here. There have been many people that have confused a blue whale for a Megalodon shark.
I believe
I
that.
want to be clear with that. This is very common, especially when
'Cause
people.
it's big.
It is huge. Like when people go on cruises or they've gone whale watching, oftentimes they'll see the blue whale and they go, "Oh my God, it's the Meg," and they take pictures and
That would not
videos.
be my first thought.
But I think so many people, a lot of people do believe it. It's still out there. That there are maybe not hundreds, but there are still some out there, and I want to believe that too. I think that's really cool to believe.
If it is still alive, I can't imagine it's coming to the surface.
It's not coming where you are because I think it's probably fearful for its life at this point. Because I don't think if there are any left, there are not many. But they come out, like they get pictures of it, and it's the Meg, and I'm like, okay, we need to just. I could see how someone could be confused if you are not a sciency person and you're just doing whale watching for one day of a vacation. A whale and a shark could look very similar, especially a blue whale, because it's the same color as some sharks. I get it. Uh, just to kind of put into perspective here, a blue female whale is 75 to 79 feet long. Way bigger than a Meg. The biggest Meg that we have on date
Real
is 60 feet.
freaking big, man.
Way bigger. A male is 66 to 69. Again, so much bigger than the Megalodon.
Now that's the size I'm looking for. That's like 40 yards, 45 yards of a football field.
No, it's not.
Yeah, because you said it was 60 feet was the longest.
Was a Meg, which was 20 yards.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
one
that's
here is
40.
66 to 69.
No, you just said it was 70 to
Oh,
70.
the female. The
Yeah,
75 to 79. So that's not even, we're not even at the 30-yard line
Oh,
yet. Yeah, we're not even at 30-yard line.
Math is really hard.
We'd have to get to 90 feet, Sammy.
Okay.
So we're at like 25 yards maybe?
That's lame.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's not that big.
But still, oh my God, you need to, oh, Sammy, oh God. Next time we go to a Packer game, I'm going to point out the yards for you. But
Make me run it, then I'll think it's long. I'll be like, fuck that was long.
But like I could see how someone could maybe confuse it for that. But like you said, if the Meg is still out there, I don't think it's coming up. It's staying down low. But that's theory number 1. The Megalodon shark has been extinct for millions of years. Okay, so now we're gonna go on to theory number 2.
Numero dos.
The theory that I want to believe the most. The Megalodon shark could still potentially be alive today. I want to start with the least convincing evidence to the most convincing evidence, because the last thing I need is people in the comments yelling at me about weak credibility of evidence. So I'm going to start with the weakest to the strongest evidence that I have here.
We'll start with Wikipedia. Go.
Oh my God. I don't use Wikipedia ever in my research. And if you do, we need to talk. My first piece of evidence, I want to tell you right off the bat, I struggled with this myself. I love the Joe Rogan podcast. Love it. He's a huge conspiracy theorist. But sometimes the stories and the guests and the things they talk about, I'm like,
Why did they say they saw the Meg?
I don't know how true these things are. He had a couple guests, and we're going to talk about some of the things that like I said, I listened to these episodes months ago, but I also went back and listen to stuff for the research. I'm going to go with a couple stories from his podcast that I do find intriguing. I just don't know how much factual information's there and how honest people are being when they tell these stories.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you this first story, and I'm going to synopsize it because the episode itself was like 2 hours long.
Damn.
I'm going to synopsize for you.
That's a 2-parter.
That's a long, and it wasn't. It was a 1-part episode for him. But he's big. He can do that. So, in synopsizing it, and I encourage you to go to his channel and listen to these because he really can, the people he has on and him himself, they can tell a story and they can dive deep into these things, and he is very interesting to listen to. Essentially, he had spoken with this man, and when I heard the story, Joe himself was telling it from the perspective of this guy. The guy did not come on and tell it. This man had been out fishing. While he was fishing, he had like looked over the side of his boat. I don't remember what reason. This man, though, was also a certified scuba diver. Scubas often, fishes often. He's very familiar. He was off the coast of Maryland here in the U.S., and he had looked down out of his boat, and he had saw something that looked kind of not normal, and it looked like a dog cage, kind of like it looked like a prison bar thing. It looked like a very large cage,
Like something you'd go diving in?
bigger.
Okay.
But at the time when he was looking down, that's probably what he thought it was because he couldn't see it super clearly. So at this point, he's like, I'm going to scuba down to it, which, first red flag, I'm not a scuba diver. I have no idea what I'm talking about here. So if you scuba dive, Jim, I know you scuba dive because he talked about it on the REI trip.
Yeah.
Help, please correct me or reach out to me because I don't know. He scuba dived alone. No one else was on the boat. I feel like you had to have a watcher, a spotter, don't you?
I don't know.
So this guy
I
gets
feel like
off.
you'd want one. I don't know if you necessarily need one.
You're
but
out in the ocean, and he was far off the coast, out in the ocean, saw something. He was like, oh, I want to see what that is, suits up and goes down on his own. Here's red flag number 2 for me.
Was he just doing it with a snorkel or did he have a tank?
He had a tank.
Okay.
He had all scuba gear, and apparently this guy was like a full certified scuba. He
Because
could
there's some
train.
people that could do it like just with a snorkel and like go
No,
way the hell down there and
that's-
just breathe out of the straw.
I
and,
believe
like,
that's
I would die.
That's free diving. So you can do free diving where like you do it in one breath. You can do snorkeling with a snorkel, and then you can do scuba diving.
Okay.
There's like multiple different things, but he gets in, and here's red flag number 2 for me because I did do like a little bit of research here, and again, someone correct me if I am wrong. The story says that he went to depths of 600 feet. When
That might be normal. I don't.
when I Googled it, because I was like, that just seems really deep, the average certified diver doesn't go normally more than 200 feet. And maybe I'm just wrong. There have been people that have gone as far as 1,000 feet, but it is not a normal dive. So it has been done. You can go to depths of 1,000. So 600 feet could have been done. It seemed a little off to me. Someone please reach out. Let me know if that's normal. Anyways, this man supposedly got down to this cage, and this guy was like, the cage was massive. Like, as far as you could see miles down in the water, this cage kept going, and it looked very deep. Supposedly, he could fit through the bars, but he goes, it just didn't seem right, so I didn't go in through the bars. When he got up to the bars, he saw engraved on numerous bars of this cage, it said Zone F, property of NASA. NASA is known for they used to research the ocean. They still do a little bit, but like they kind of have stopped a lot of funding towards that.
Okay.
People are now assuming like this man, especially, he went on and said that like as he went down, he looked at the cage, he saw the engraving, eventually he was like, I'm gonna go back up. As he was swimming back up, he claims he saw a shark, but very deep
In the cage?
in the cage,
Okay.
in deep depths of the cage. But apparently the shark like didn't stay in that spot long and ended up swimming even deeper down, so he lost track of it and sight of it, and he went back up to the surface because he was already on his ascent to go back up.
Mhm.
He said based on the distance the shark was away from him, he goes, it looked very, very large. He assumes that NASA's keeping the shark in this cage, it's the Megalodon, and that it's being stored here to be researched and studied.
Okay.
Again, like I said,
The fact that this guy though didn't come on and tell it himself.
and he might have on another episode. This might have just been Joe like synopsizing it and
Okay.
talking about it. I truly don't know because I just went back to find it again today and listened to the quick version of it myself. Apparently, this man though, like weeks later, went back out and he did not keep track of where he was. And this is where again another red flag for me. If you saw this cage and you went down to it, I would have thought you would have been like, this is where I saw it.
I would have put like a waypoint in my GPS.
Yeah, he apparently went back out to try to find it and could never find this cage again. And if it was so massive and so big, like, wouldn't
I
you?
feel you?
Yeah, but that's the first story I have is this man thinks like NASA's keeping, and that has been a rumor for
I mean,
years.
It wouldn't surprise me, but
It wouldn't surprise me either. And like, you go on any social media, you type it into any search engine on the internet, there have been many rumors that NASA has the Megalodon either in the ocean or in a observation tank somewhere because they're trying to study it and they're trying to recreate it and have numerous more that they can reintroduce into the oceans. So
I don't know if that's a good idea.
I don't know if it's a good idea either, but
That's like trying to reintroduce dinosaurs.
which someone's trying to do.
Fuck no.
We'll do that another day. But so that is the first story I wanted to share. Again, I'm starting with least convincing to most convincing. I do have one more Joe Rogan thing that I'm gonna share, another story that he had. And again, I'll synopsize this one. He had another guest, and I cannot remember the guest's name. He has been on numerous times, Sammy, and let me tell you, he is fine. He is so attractive. This man travels the world. I love his Amazon rainforest stories. I believe in other podcasts I've talked about this man because I've used his evidence before. And I think it's the same guy. He supposedly worked on an operation with NASA called Project Deep Dive. Again, here is a red flag for me. Apparently, he said that they were going to depths of 30,000 feet and researching what they called deep sea life.
How deep does the ocean go?
Oh my God, Sammy. I don't have the exact number. It really fucking deep. I don't have the exact number in front of me.
Can a submarine go that low?
That's where I struggle. Our military subs only go 2,600 feet. You're telling me,
You went to 30,000 feet.
yeah. And then had the audacity to tell me that when he went out on a mission with other people that went down there with him, first, you're not scuba diving at that depth. So did you have like little subs you went off on personally when you're doing this mission? Again, red flag. I don't know how true this is, but
You
this
sure you didn't just mishear it?
I did not mishear it. There were typed captions as
Okay.
well, and I re-looked it up on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and on Google the whole because I was like 30,000 feet, no fucking way. This is like I said, red flag.
Okay.
He claims that when he was out with other people on this mission for searching for whatever they saw, something came over their radar device, and the object that they were seeing that was moving at approximately 2 to 3 miles an hour was huge, like Megalodon shark huge plus bigger. He said it was like anywhere from like 100 to 200 feet long, which would have been bigger than the Meg.
Yeah, that would have been huge.
And he's like, yeah, it was so big, it never like actually got to them, but it was on their radar and it was moving around.
That would have been like blue shark size. Or blue whale.
Blue whale. Like it would have been, and even then, bigger than a blue whale.
And a blue whale would not be at that depth.
And so it just seems really off to me. So those two stories, take it with a grain of salt. That's not my most convincing evidence. But if it's real, awesome, great. The 30,000 feet, story number 2 is really hard for me. The next piece I want to investigate is a satellite image. And I will show you the video in a second. And I'll make sure I get the actual image to post on Instagram as well so you guys can all see it. Many people call this image weak and not a valid argument. Photoshopped is literally the number one thing. And guess what? It might have been. Who knows? Very well could have been. But keep in mind, it's just a small part of my argument. Initially, scientists were studying other aquatic creatures that were migrating. So they were using a lot of satellite imagery to watch these creatures.
With drones nowadays, it's actually quite popular.
Yeah, so they were looking for this, and one of the satellite images, they're really far out, and then they would zoom in to watch these other creatures, and as they are zooming in, there is very clearly what appears to be an outline of a shark. When they zoomed in, they then took a photo at the exact same resolution using the same pixels and all that technology, and they compared it to a school bus yard. And they put the two photos next to each other.
A school bus yard?
Yeah, to compare it to the size of a school bus.
Okay.
The shark image that they saw.
Why'd you say yard?
Because it was a yard full of school buses. A school bus parking lot?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you meant like a measurement yard.
No.
Okay.
A school bus yard where they park the buses. And they compared the two resolution images next to each other. And the shark was so much clearly bigger than a school bus, which I told you earlier, it would be by 15 plus feet. They compared it and they're like, holy shit, like this is huge. And it's very clearly the outline of a shark. And like I said, people are going to go, Photoshopped. It's Photoshopped. And guess what? That's okay. Does that not look like a shark?
Yeah.
And then they go on to interview. This interview was on national television because this research foundation or this team of researchers had released this information because they, one, were doing the research on the other, like migratory patterns.
Yep.
I don't know if I said that right. Of the one animal that they were doing, but then they had also released this going, holy, like, look at you guys. I have a hard time believing that they would release a photoshopped image like that.
I mean, it looked very real.
It does. It doesn't look like, oh my God, you just plastered it into the water. It
doesn't look that large. But I mean, when you're comparing something to an ocean,
yes,
it doesn't look that large.
And if I would have showed you the rest of the video, it did go on to compare it to like a school bus. And
okay.
I'll try to put both those like snapshots on the Instagram for you guys to look at. But it does not, to me, it does not look photoshopped. And granted, Photoshop can look perfect and you would never know. But I find it hard that the validity of a team would be tested if you dropped a photo when this is your job.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time believing that they would do that just because it could taint what you're doing as a job. The other thing I want to mention off this satellite image is like 2-3 months prior to us finding this satellite image, there had also been a spotting 3,000 miles away in Cape Verde. I believe I'm saying that right. And this was also another aerial image of a shark that was of that size.
Okay.
When the guy went on to interview, he goes, it very well could have traveled at that speed. When you watch the migratory patterns of great whites, in 1 month, they can go 1,500 yards or 1,500 miles. Sorry. A Megalodon could do, I think, double, if not triple that in a month. Very realistic that could have happened. So, like I had said earlier, one of my biggest issues is solely on the fossilized records of this. I mean, we talked earlier about like they're mostly made of cartilage. That's hard
Like,
to,
aside from teeth, there's really
yeah,
not much.
there's not much. And then we have people going, well, 3.6 million years ago. And when I looked at all these sources, the date range of extinction was so vastly different. And when I say multiple sources, Sammy, this was like 10 plus different sources.
Okay.
It was so vastly different, and scientists can't agree on when this happened. And I just have a hard time believing that, like, okay, some of you are saying like 2 million years ago, and some of you are saying like 5 million years ago. I think they kind of just average it at 3.6. And I'm like, can you even say that they're extinct? Like,
Yeah.
I just think that that seems a little off to me, and I really struggle with the whole extinction and validating when that happened based on what is left behind from a meg when it does die.
Yeah.
So here is where I get a little heated with what I'm going to tell you. And I get excited, and I feel like this is my convincing evidence.
She's getting fired up,
I'm
people.
fired up. So, our world has gone through millions of different changes over billions of years. That being said, the Megalodon would have to change and grow with the environment that it was living in order to survive. Agree?
Yeah,
It would have
I do agree.
Okay, you'd have to agree that, like,
They'd have to adapt.
thank you. You have to adapt. I use that word a couple times in what I'm about to say here, but you would have to adapt in order to survive. It's kind of like if your house burns down. Oh my God, I need to change that. If your car gets a flat tire, you need to adapt to the situation in order to survive the situation, correct?
Call in sick.
So-
Change the tire. Call
Like you're
a
adapting.
tow truck. Yeah.
You're adapting to that situation. So while studying the reasons for the Meg's extinction, the number one thing scientists say, or the number one reason that scientists provide, is the Meg went extinct because of food chain issues. I have a really hard time with that being the reason they would go extinct, because if you want to survive, you're going to find a way to survive. In all of the things that we
Yeah, but
have
if your
found,
food disappears, you're gonna die.
well, just wait. In all the things that we have found, they have been believed to live coastally off of land masses. The thing is, okay, let's say you eat minnows. They don't eat minnows, but you eat the fish and the sharks that are there, and you run out. I can understand how that could happen, but the survival instinct's going to set in. I want to live. How can I live? Do you realize how deep the ocean is and how deep this shark could go down to find a new food source? They would eat out the fish and the sharks, and yes, I think hundreds of the Megalodon sharks likely did die off because they're going, oh my God, my food's gone. They starve, they die. They become fish food themselves. But I do think that, like I said before, there are, in every species, animal, human, whatever it is, you have the will to live. You want to live. It's just innate in you. I think that some of those Megs likely were like, how can I find new food? And they kind of like, okay, I'm going to dive to deeper depths. I'm going to go to the middle of the ocean because, like I said, most of them stay kind of coastally. That's where they're found. Yes, you can swim across an ocean, but I think a lot of these sharks went deeper. So before anyone comes for me and says that, oh, they didn't dive deeper, it's not realistic, because everyone attacks that immediately. And people go, no, like it's not possible. But they never have like an argument as to like why it's not possible. I have that argument, and I'm here to present it to you today. Felt very presidential there. As of today in 2024, only 5% of the world's ocean has been explored. 5%.
That's really small.
That leaves 95% of the ocean unexplored. Do you realize how big that is? Can you even fathom?
That's big. I know big.
Do you? Because
Yeah.
you thought the tooth was 5 feet for it.
That's what I'm saying. I go big.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw a lot of numbers at you to just show you how big that is. The world's ocean takes up 139 million square miles. 5% of that is 6,950,000 square miles. That leaves open 132,050,000 miles.
My only thing is, are they saying that we've only explored 5%? Are they saying like we've explored the whole ocean, but only the top 2%, and that's considered 5%? Are they dealing with depth as well?
They're not very specific, because in certain areas we can get to the ocean floor. Some areas we can't. We can only study like the, let's say, top 10
Because
feet.
I feel like we've been almost everywhere. We just have only gone to a certain depth.
Yes. So that does factor in, but
It's
it
the
depends
depth
on where
that gets us.
Yes, it depends on where you're going, because we don't have technology that can go that deep.
Correct.
In certain places. But that doesn't take away the living creatures that are down there.
Correct.
So, like I said, that left open 132,050,000 square miles that have never been explored.
Yeah.
Most of that being deep depths of the ocean where things are living. Literally, it's uncharted territory, and you're telling me that there isn't even the slightest chance the Meg could be down there? That's what I struggle with, is so many people
Yeah.
are like, "It can't. It's not possible." And I'm like, "You don't there's so much that we've left
Well, it's
untouched."
like the giant squid.
That's down there, 100% down there.
I
'Cause
don't I don't think if there are I think it's the similar situation with the
yeah,
Meg.
it
If there
is.
are some, I don't feel there are a lot.
Yes. Oh, I 100 if there are any left, I think it's very few,
Yeah.
and they're at very deep depths.
Yep.
But even then, when the giant squid existed, I wanna say back then, it was at deep depths.
Yeah.
It was not like a surface animal, they were very deep down. On top of that, most people like to argue, "Oh, sharks, wouldn't choose to live at those deeps of depths." That's the main argument, but they can't, like, back it up with evidence as to, like, why wouldn't they live at those deeps of depths? This is where I get to, okay, sharks today. We have over 500 different species of sharks. Over that, like a ton of them. Over 50% of the world's sharks live at depths so deep that they never surface and we never see them. And on very rare occasions, they'll come just high enough that when we are doing research that we're lucky to catch a glimpse of them.
Okay.
So they live tremendously deep in the ocean. It is possible. The Megalodon relates very closely to these species of sharks. So it is very possible that their body was made up the same way and they could go to these deeps of depths.
Yeah.
I struggle when people say, well, it's just not possible. But why? And I would be very
I think
curious.
it's more opinion based.
I think it really
they
is.
just don't think there's any left down there.
And just for me, it was looking at the sharks that we have today and the fact that they over 50%. I was shocked by that number because I feel like we see so many sharks on the surface, very high up.
Yeah.
I was shocked to hear that over 50% of sharks live very deep within the ocean. Never surfacing, not coming to shallow waters. They just live deeper. And I don't know if it's like a climate thing. They're more comfortable. They feel safer. I don't know what the reason is. I also learned there's only one fish in the entire sea that is warm-blooded. Everything else is cold-blooded, which I thought was interesting. Didn't know that. It's like a flatfish. I just struggle with it can't be alive. We know it can't be alive because, we have all these detailed extinction records. Teeth, maybe some spine, in there. But we go off of like, oh, that, and then we just have people with the opinion of that they can't go deeper, and I struggle. With everything being said, I'm not saying that I think that the ocean is filled with hundreds of thousands of megalodon sharks. I don't think it's realistic. No. But I do think that there is a very small possibility that potentially there are some megalodons at deeper depths in the ocean living out their best life. But they estimate that there are more than 10 million species. It would definitely have a very reliable food source down there, especially if there's only a handful of the megalodons left.
I feel like they'd have to eat a shit ton to be able to supply that.
Oh,
that
I think
large
so
of a
too.
body.
But do you realize how much is down there? And how much we don't know? There could be way more down there that we don't know about.
Yeah.
The vastness of it makes my head spin. I think that, yes, there is a possibility. There is a handful of them left. And I think it's kind of arrogant of the human race to just go, they're all gone. We have solid proof. Because, yes, there's proof, but I don't know if I would say it's the most solid at times.
Well, plus it's like there's birds that are living right now and we have fossils of them.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I just think it's a little arrogant of us to be like, they're all gone. Because some of the proof that experts are presenting, I don't always think is like the most founded. Like okay, you found a tooth. And like you said, maybe they drill into the tooth and they can tell how long ago it was and whatever the case. But I think that so often we kind of wipe the table clear and be like, oh, it's gone, it's dead. And yeah, maybe it is. But I think that there is potential. It could be out there. So what do you believe? Did the megalodon shark go completely extinct millions of years ago? Or do you think there's a very small possibility that a few of these sharks are left in the depths of our ocean hiding out today?
I still think they're extinct.
I'm going to hold on to that hope that there's like 5 down at the bottom.
I just don't think there's enough of a food source. And with ocean acidification and all of these creatures dying, I just don't think it would be able to survive. The oxygen levels, I just don't feel are high enough. I mean, you think of like the millipedes that used to be like 20 feet long. They need a shit ton of oxygen to be able to supply them. The level of oxygen on Earth has gone down drastically since 5 million years ago. I just don't think there's enough oxygen to support that large of a being.
Mm-hmm.
And the acidification happening in the ocean, I feel like if they weren't dead already, that would have wiped them out.
Yeah. And like I said,
humans are killing the Earth.
Oh, 100%.
And that's going to then kill species.
Yeah. I get that. And like I said, I want to believe that there are some down there because that would be really freaking epic.
Mm-hmm.
And that one day they will take over the ocean again. I hope that's I hope that for the sake of the megalodon it's true, but I also can sit there and go, millions of years have passed. the earth has changed.
Yeah.
Things have changed that they are extinct and they're dead.
I mean, I think
I
eventually something will like adapt itself and we'll get something not exactly the same, but something comparable. But I think by then humans will be long gone.
Yeah, which is sad. And that was another piece of evidence that I kind of like cut out because it wasn't very big, but a lot of people like to argue like the ice age killed them. Well, do you know how many things lived through the ice age? Like
Mm-hmm.
aquatic animals, like it is potentially like it could have lived through that. Not many of them, but some of them could have. But no, I like to hold out hope that there's like five. Five are just chilling down there. They're besties. They're hanging out at the bottom of the ocean.
I hope they're reproducing a shit ton. There's gonna be some serious incest. But that's okay.
Jokes on us. There's like only 5 males down there, but I hope that there are some down there. But like you said, with the changes that we've experienced, I very potentially they're all extinct. I could see that too.
Sad face.
I'm chilling on the side of MEG. I want the MEG down there. Eventually, it'll emerge.
Heck yeah.
If it was gonna emerge, though, I feel like the year 2020 would have been the year.
Yeah.
All the real shit in the world happened that year.
Sharknado would have happened.
But you guys, I'd love to hear what you think. This was a fun one to research. It was definitely, I love it when I always start on TikTok because that's where you get your like,
Just ideas.
your ideas of like what you might want to do for conspiracy. And I love when you go on there and like people are like, it's out there. And I'm like, you're my kind of people. I like you. But even like on Google, like this was just a fun one to research. And who knows if it's out there or if it's not, if it's dead and it's gone, or if it's at the depths of the ocean. But you guys, let us know what you think. Feel free to interact with us on social media. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Like us on Facebook and Instagram at Conspiracy Podcast 1. And remember to tune in for next week's episode, which will be posted on Wednesday.
Bye, guys.
See ya.